Tampa Bay Spirits presents Haunted Campfire Tales Live. Welcome. Gather around the fire. Get comfortable, but not too comfortable. The true ghost tales are about to unfold. Boom.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
If I don't know if this is your first time being in the audience or you've been here before, but we'll all introduce ourselves.
I'm Rob.
I'm Joan.
Les.
Hi, I'm Beth.
Robin.
Joy. Jessie.
Yes.
You will be tested on this at the end of the show.
Les and Beth are the OG members of Tampa Bay Spirits, the paranormal team that Jessie, Rob, and I belong to. And, okay, Facebook user says, okay, let's get into the spirit of things. Very funny. Who are you? Reveal yourself to us so we can know who we're talking to.
Hi, Marjorie.
If I'm a really good, shouldn't I be able to say, oh? Marjorie Deering says, hello, everyone. Checked in with StreamYard and ready to go. Thanks, Marjorie. We're glad that you're here. So,
Not sure if everybody knows.
oh, it's George.
Hi, George.
Hi, George.
So every comment you make, put your initial on it or something, so we'll
Yeah.
know. Okay.
G
Hi,
for George.
G for George. I think he knows what his initial.
Oh, George.
Oh,
He said,
So I'm not sure if all you people that are watching know, but we did a live investigation at the Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas, on July 3rd, overnight of July 3rd. We were on for like 3 hours, and right now what we're doing is first chance we've had to do a recap to let you guys know what we found.
okay, so this is what George has to say. BS or GD?
Usually it's BS, George, but why don't you go with GD?
Let's go with GD.
Yeah.
And Paul Hollis says, hello, spooky team. Hi, Paul.
hello.
Yeah, so we're going to go over everything that we did there. Robin, Joy, and Jessie were awesome. They stuck through the whole night. You guys did such a great job.
They hosted for us.
We really appreciated, Les, Beth, Rob, and I had fun doing that. I'm going to do a big spoiler alert right now. You got no evidence.
Well, we have a little bit that we're going to show.
Well, we have some evidence.
Yeah.
Let me say this. Oh, George is also, and this is true, and Jessie knows because she got a jar of your salsa, aka salsa dude.
Busy making salsa.
They've been busy making salsa.
for-
We did get some evidence, but not as much as we're used to, right, guys? We're
Right.
used to a lot more activity.
Not as much as we were promised.
I know.
Yeah, right?
Didn't you say they said they guaranteed
Guaranteed, yeah.
EVPs?
Yeah,
How
guaranteed at
many
least two.
hours of EVPs do we have?
Oh my gosh.
3 hours.
3 or 4 hours,
Well,
right?
3
But on-
times how many
That's right.
recorders that we used.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we each had a recorder.
Yep.
We had several cameras.
And we had the live stream going.
Live
So,
stream, four
yeah,
static
so
cams,
probably 16 hours, 20 hours of
Yeah.
that with nothing. Joy, it'd be really good if you talk to us now about what you were asking about before the show so that we can, about the voices the sounds that you heard.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
Robin.
yeah. Because I think you guys were all in the same location, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. we, Robin and I, well, actually, I was hearing it and I just thought it was me. I thought it was some kind of outside thing, but it was like a crowd was like outside the room or outside or like you hear a block party, like right down the road or something. And you could hear people talking and it was just like background music of crowds. And eventually I said something about it and Robin said, I've been hearing that too.
Now, Jessie
And,
was in Tampa. She wasn't in Texas with us. She was in Tampa Bay. But
and I was I'm in the Indianapolis area. So it was just weird that we heard this, but then when they came back on, then we did, and we were all talking together like this, then we didn't hear it. And then when they would kind of disconnect from us, then we would hear it, but Jesse didn't. And
Yeah.
three of us that were talking. So it was odd. We couldn't figure it out.
what I wanted to say is that what you're describing, like that it sounded like far off sound, is exactly the way a lot of ESP sounds. It sounds like a tinny radio or something.
EVP,
The EVPs, what did I say?
ESP.
Oh, ESP. I meant EVPs. They sound like that sometimes. Sometimes it sounds like a hoarse whisper, like I am here or something like that. But I know.
When you said a horse whisper, I totally thinking Mr. Ed. Like,
That's where I'm at. Too.
oh.
You're too young to remember Mr. Ed.
Well, thank you.
We educated her.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was funny because it was continuous. It wasn't like every so often you'd hear something and then maybe a little while later. It was just like a constant in the background. And I was like, where is that noise coming from? And I
That
thought,
could definitely have been spirit that you were picking up on, because we've been at in Zoom meetings where we've actually heard that over the broadcast. And yeah.
So that could be what it was. I didn't hear it when I replayed the show.
No. It didn't come through.
It didn't come through on the actual show. So that's really crazy. Really crazy.
Well, if the one thing that just came to mind when we were, like in the mood and everything, and you were talking about the different things that it had been, and that people from the hotel would come over and they'd have parties at night. I mean, and then it was almost like that I was hearing the party in the background, that was going on with it, that the ghosts were having or something. So that was kind of in my mind. I was kind of putting myself in the mood, telling myself that, that's putting me in the mood for what's going on there.
Wow.
and I just kept thinking it's annoying. Where is that noise coming from?
Right.
So, Jesse, can you give us like a short capsulized idea of what the Hill House is like?
Yeah.
From your research? I don't know that you can condense it to be fairly concise.
Yeah, I can. So it was built in 1890 or 1892 by Fanny Yeager Kyle. And she lived there as well as her sister. She passed away there, and her sister did as well. And then her sister's son sold it. Let's see, I've got notes here, in the 1930s. So they had it that whole time. And then after that, after it was sold, they it was turned into a brothel at some point, and used for that. And it was also used once is it the Baker Hotel that's nearby? Yeah. The Baker Hotel was opened in 1929. And when that happened, during Prohibition and everything, people that stayed in the hotel would come to the Hill House to use its services and be entertained by the ladies there. And also they used the Hill House as a alcohol running operation. So
During
would,
Prohibition.
yeah, during Prohibition to get alcohol to the hotel for the guests there, and they would like supposedly use kids to run the alcohol over to the hotel. So they would like load them up on their bicycle and have them take it over to the hotel there. And there are several reports of things happening there, tragedies. I mean, of course, the two sisters died. Fanny and her sister died there. Nothing nefarious, you know, just of old age. And later on, there are reports that one of the sex workers who worked in the brothel had a child, and that the child had developmental issues and was treated really badly there, and eventually was, trigger warning for anybody who needs it because this is terrible, but was murdered there. There are also stories about sex workers who became pregnant and, you know, terminated the pregnancies, or later, you know, let them be born. And one of the stories is there's a well out back, and that one of the sex workers had a child, and that the child died, and they put the baby in the well, is one of the stories. The problem with when I was running into, I like to find in my research like historical record of things like that. And the problem is when it is being used as a brothel, it's very difficult to find historical record or documentation of anything because
it was illegal.
It was illegal, and they don't want to report it to the police, right? And so, understandably so. And so there is another story about a woman who, it's unclear if she was a sex worker or if she was just a woman that lived there or was staying there, that was killed by a man on the stairs and dragged down the stairs.
Now, I find that interesting because when I was getting impressions before we went there, and, you know, Beth and I were both telling you what we were seeing, you know, spiritually, I remember saying that there was a second floor, that I could see that there was a second floor, and that there was stairs in the, they were wooden stairs and a wooden balustrade made out of, you know, looked like not unpainted wood, you know, varnished wood, and that it was dark, that the stairway was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you said that someone was murdered there, I wondered if that's why I kept thinking the stairway was dark. But I didn't feel anything or sense anything when I was going up and down the stairs. Did you, Beth?
No, not at the
No.
stairs.
It didn't feel creepy or anything.
Supposedly, you know, they've got evidence of that. There's also a room that was blocked off for many years, and not the current owners, but the people that owned it before the current owners didn't even know the room was there. It's a bathroom, and supposedly it was the location of a murder-suicide.
That place was just buzzing with really negative energy. We didn't know what had happened there, but it was terrible.
It was awful.
It was probably the worst feeling of any place I've ever been is in that bathroom.
I think it was for me also. I really, really, really did not like that room. And I really, really did not like the scrying room at all. Yeah. There was really bad energy in both of those rooms. Bad, really bad. I mean, maybe not to the level of when we were at the Clay County Jail for me, but actually the suicide room was probably...
That was the worst I've ever felt.
Over what I felt at Clay County. And then the scry room was less than Clay County. So George said he had a nightmare once, and the voice said, "I am here," but it turned out to be his third wife. And he also said, "Joy, the light is too low. He can barely see you. He'd like to see you better."
Oh, let me see what I can do. I don't know why this room is, it's because there's an overhead light and I have two lights right here.
Okay, well, you're
Is
fixing
that
your light.
helping?
Yes.
Is that
That
helping?
does
That's
look
good.
better.
Yeah, that
Yep.
looks better.
I mean, I've got two lamps here.
Why don't we go ahead and do our first clip? And this is the flashlight session that we did in the bedroom right next to that the bathroom where the suicides were, or the suicide was, and it's kind of self-explanatory, and we'll chat about it once we see it. So everybody, here we go.
Could someone please turn the flashlight on? Someone turned it off. Could you turn it on? Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. That's amazing. Okay. Now, if you're a male, will you turn that off? If you're a female, will you turn it off, please? Yep, it's dimming. Good job. Just twist it a little bit more. You're almost there. Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah. So
That was pretty self-explanatory, I think, right?
I think everybody understood what happened there. But seriously, in the audience, do you have any questions, or Robin or Joy, any questions at all?
I don't. Yeah, it was pretty
No.
clear.
Yeah, it was pretty fascinating, actually.
What's fascinating to me is if you twist that on and you turn it on yourself, okay, it comes on nice and bright like that
It
did.
either comes on or goes off.
Right.
Right.
And then if you want to turn it off, there is no way that you can do what Spirit does, which makes it dimmer, 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 off. You can't do it by hand. It can't be done. We've tried and tried and tried. It either is on or it's off. There is no
It's
dim
very difficult to get it close. So we try to get it as close as we can
to make it easy
to
for
make it
them
easier.
to turn it on
Yeah.
and off.
I have a quick question. Do you think it could be actually the power, or dimming and then getting strong again, or do you think it's actually the physical turning?
Well, the first time that we, because I had heard and seen on different sites online that people said that it's the battery heating it up, and even though it's not making a connection, the battery gets so hot it turns it on and off, like you just said, which I believe is that's what you're asking, right?
Well, I was wondering if the spirit was able to control the energy to it.
Oh, I think the spirit can control the energy, but as far as whether
I think she was
goes,
asking like how we think that's happening. Do we think that they're actually physically turning it, or do we think that they're draining the power?
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think they turn it on by turning it. And I know that
like physically, yeah.
I know they physically turn it on, and I know that because of a spirit that we talked with at
Holly's
house.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had tried to fix the flashlight to make it easier for her. And this was after we'd been talking to her for like about 10 or 15 minutes. And I actually made it hotter, and she got so frustrated that while she was trying to turn it on, she literally knocked it down the length of the table.
Right.
The whole flashlight went rolling. So I know that part.
We've also had
They
them
manipulate
levitate.
it.
We've had the flashlight levitate before.
Jesse was there for that.
Wow.
That was bizarro. Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I think maybe they could be draining it. Actually, that's a really That's
Their
really good
power
because
could be-
then they could be draining it and getting energy from draining it when they turn it off. That's,
Absorbing that energy.
yes, I like that idea. That's really a good idea. That makes sense.
Just sort of, I
Good
was just thinking.
thinking. Good thinking.
All right, why don't we take a look at clip number 2?
Did you work here? Okay. Thank you, whoever thought of that question.
Yes.
Hallelujah. All right. Thank you very much. You worked here. All right. Could you please turn the flashlight off again? That was, I don't know if it was from Jesse or the audience.
It was me.
It was Jesse.
Keep those questions coming.
Yeah. Jesse's also a sensitive, so I think she picked up on that. Could you please turn the flashlight? Oh, good job. Good job. There you go. You're almost there again.
Yeah, that's crazy the way they do that every time. It's always every spirit we've ever spoken with the flashlight has turned it off exactly like that every time.
Yeah.
It's, I just am like, I've been doing this for years and years now, and I still am like, what?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
good
exciting
job.
every time. I think
Right.
that and you might have a clip, I don't know. It's just stop me if you do. But I think once we talked to the spirit in that room, we did ascertain that she did work there and that maybe she was one of the sex workers that had been there. But shortly after she started communicating with us, she was kind of shut down.
Yep, by that angry man.
Yeah, there was an angry man that did not allow her to talk.
And there was a shadow figure too in that room.
All right, Marjorie Deering says, this probably sounds like a silly question. No, there are no silly questions.
No.
But has anyone thought to check out flashlights used like this for fingerprints or some kind of trace evidence afterward? That is not a silly question. It's not a bad idea. That's a really good idea. We can do that. That's
Yeah,
a
I've never
really
thought
great
of that.
idea.
But we would have to do it like wipe it down really good first, so that
Yes,
we know
and then
it's
use
on
gloves
clean.
when we handled it so that we didn't get
Yeah.
our fingerprints on it.
Mhm.
But I'm willing to do that. That's a great idea.
But
Or
the
even
question
yeah.
is, if they don't have a physical body, are they going to be able to leave
They
physical
leave
fingerprints?
they leave physical footprints. You know, you can
True.
put powder on the floor or flour on the
Right.
floor, and you can literally catch footprints
That's
as they
true.
walk
So I
through.
guess it is not out of the realm of possibility.
Mhm.
I mean, anything's possible.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a
We're
good.
willing to try it.
That's a great suggestion.
I think it's a really good suggestion. You guys, you're really coming up with some great ideas here. I'm excited. A fresh way of looking at this.
There you go.
It's awesome.
All right.
We already did that one.
So let's go to number
Let's
3.
go to number 3.
All right.
Do you show yourself to people? We would love to see. We would love to see you. That would make us very happy.
That's fabulous.
Roxanne would like you to ask if she got hurt while she lived there.
Wait, she's going to have to turn it off first. She heard the question. She's turning it off. You're almost there. But good job. Good job. There you go. You know what? It's impossible for a human being to turn that on and off like that. We have tried so many times. You can't do it. Okay, so Roxanne wants to know, what was the question?
Did she
Jesse?
get hurt? Was she hurt while she was living there.
Were you hurt by
working
anyone or anything while you were living here, working here? Interesting. So do you like people to see you?
Was there a little boy in the house when you were there?
I have a question. This room is called, I believe this room is called the shadow person room.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a shadow person that you see here? Oh,
Oh,
there
wow.
it is. I'll give you time to turn it off and I'll ask it a question.
Good job. You're doing it. Good job.
Very good. I know that takes.
Yeah, so right there, when we go over the Estes clips, you'll see that there's a definite change in the words that Beth was hearing, and I think that was the angry man, and I think that there is an angry spirit there, and I think he would not let her answer about being hurt or about her child being hurt. I think that's what happened there when you saw it go all quiet there and she wouldn't answer those questions. But then as soon as we said, is there a shadow man here? Well, then that's what he wants everyone to know so she could answer that, because he wants people to be scared. He wants people to be afraid and to fear him, and that feeds his energy. He likes that.
Right.
So are you kind of assuming, or are you that the angry man is also the shadow man?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because he likes to scare people. He wants people to be afraid of him, and I think that he pretty much.
I was
You
gonna
know.
say this is so it was really cool leading up to the investigation because Beth and my mom Joan like to go in cold without really knowing much about the location that they're going to, and they like to pick up on things, see what they pick up on before they even go. So Beth and my mom were sending me information about what they were picking up on. Like I'd get like random messages. I'm I'm seeing this, like, okay. And I have like a little notes in my phone that wherever I was, I would just like pop it in my notes. And it was really difficult because I didn't want to give anything away, but it was really funny because so I think some of the first things that my mom said were that it was she was seeing a white house, that it was 2 stories, that it had black trim. Now we know, and I knew from looking at the photos of it, doing my research, that's exactly what it looks like. And she was like, I'm seeing a wooden staircase. There's like this big wood staircase inside. And it's not painted. It's like exposed, wood, varnished wood. And then they were both picking up on a man that was overbearing and like a bully. I think maybe somebody that maybe assaulted people or was violent in real life, possibly. They were also picking up, Beth was picking up a woman who was wearing like a house dress and was like no nonsense, kind of. Is that how you would say it, Beth? Like very gruff, like authoritative, maybe, kind of. they both were picking up on a child. And this is the funniest thing, because I'm like doing the research, and one of the biggest things that you will read about this house is this little boy, who they call Toby, is that right? They call him Toby, and they believe he was the little boy that was the son of one of the sex workers that passed away there and was mistreated there. And the funniest thing is, they kept saying, my mom kept saying, I'm seeing a girl, and Beth kept saying, I'm seeing a child, like a child. And and I was just going, okay. And I'm like, I'm not giving them anything, because I'm trying to be like, I just want to gather the evidence and then be able to let them know what I found out in my research once they've done their investigation. And I was like, okay, and then they kept texting me about this child. And then finally Beth was like, no, I'm seeing a boy. Like, he's a little boy. And then my mom was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, as soon as you said that, like, it's like, oh, I kept saying girl, but no, you're right. It's a boy. And so I had already done the research at that point and knew that that was one of the, like, main things that people pick up on it when they're there visiting this house, and one of the main kind of lore or stories, around the house. So that was really fun to watch happen and see you guys get the information as I was researching, because it was challenging for me to research, because I do like to have my like documented stuff that I can point to and go, okay, we do know, and there's documentation that this happens. And so for this case, some of that just simply wasn't there. But the things that Beth and my mom were picking up on separately and sending to me,
Not to each other.
yeah, we're right in line with my research of what I could find on the house. So I thought that was really cool and really fun to watch
That's always
happen.
I think that even before before I knew that Beth had said it was a boy, I said to you, I'm beginning to rethink this girl. I'm not sure what it is. And my mind went.
You were like, well, it's a child. And you were like, I don't know. So
and I was thinking maybe it was something pretending to be a child or something. And then Beth said it was a boy. And then I said, that's it. I said, of course, my mind is going, oh, it's something weird. And it wasn't a girl because it was a boy. Marjorie Deering says, I'm confused about the difference between a shadow person and a normal spirit. It seems shadow people are usually considered more aggressive and evil. Is there more to it? Well,
I've heard that. I've
Go ahead.
heard that the shadow people are more aggressive, but I've also, I feel like shadow people have never been human to begin with. That they're some type of an entity, a manifestation of, I'm not sure, sometimes with the poltergeist, that's just a manifestation of energy. And I really believe that that's the case with the with the shadow figure also. I've run into a few shadow figures. One was extremely ugly, evil. And then I've run into another one, just close to my house, actually, in an investigation, who was almost humorous in nature, and that was very. I was surprised.
Nadine, who is George's wife, has a question. Nadine has a question. Comment. A few nights ago, while she was sleeping, someone or something tapped her on the back of her right shoulder 3 times. It wasn't me or the dogs. We were in the living room. Any thoughts? Oh, she lost her brother and her mother a week apart 2 years ago. I remember that. She really wants input. My belief is an entity touched you,
Somebody trying to reach you.
Someone trying to reach you, and probably was your mom or your brother. That's what I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, most of us get reached by family members, I think. I'm sorry, Beth, go ahead.
No, it's okay. also, if you felt that touch and you thought of them, if they came to mind, that's
Yeah.
a good way to judge if it really was them. Or
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
the
Yeah, it
feeling
is.
that you get is also a big clue.
About the shadow person, I know that in one investigation that we were doing, it was one that we went back like 4 different times to the house. This was just, Rob and I were doing that investigation, and this shadow would come up through the floor and appear to a boy a child in the house, and then another entity kept touching the neck of one of the other children in the house, and we finally did, and I actually thought it was probably that their grandfather who had passed away. However, we finally did, like on the 4th investigation, reach a spirit who actually did the flashlight session with us, and it was someone who'd never even lived there and didn't know them. But I don't think he was the shadow person. I think that he was the one touching the other boy and would sometimes appear to the first boy. But so I never thought about shadow people being a non-human spirit, because some of them take human form, but some of them look like,
Blobs.
yeah, blobs and like creepy crawly things and stuff. They're
Yeah, I've heard of things that are called like crawlers. Is that
Creepers.
a shadow? Creepers.
Yes, they climb up the walls and along the ceiling and come down.
Skitter
That's pretty
around.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's one.
I'd be moving.
Yeah,
Those
They
are
all
house
call it
presents.
creeper hanging around.
No, that
Creeper,
would not be
crawler,
something
they can all
I
go.
would permit in my house. It would be, no, you're out of here. Forget it.
Okay, we have one more flashlight clip, and
Cool.
go ahead and pop into it.
When you worked here, did you stay here also?
Yes.
Took a while.
Maybe we're wearing her out. Well, you can turn that off now and we'll give you a rest. Yeah, she's having trouble turning it off.
It is trying to dim them.
I know, I can see that.
As we move along, you're welcome to follow us.
Yep.
And talk to us anytime you'd like.
Or even show yourself to us. Thank you.
Now, Joe Conjal, you could see it, asked the question, did she own the dolls? No. The people who owned the house put all the dolls, put all the
All the
things
wonderful
in
dolls.
there.
It was very decorated.
Was so decorated. And all the rooms had wonderful names like, axe murder room, suicide room.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is the only spoiler I gave to them. I was like, I don't want
Heads
to talk
up, yeah.
anything. I was like, but just a heads up, they are leaning into the spookiness aspect of it for funsies. So I was like, there's like horror movie stuff everywhere, like the Shining Twins dolls and like
Great place to go on
zombie
Halloween. Right?
props
Yeah.
from
Hanging from the ceiling.
weird clowns hanging from the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird, but
Not exactly our cup of tea, but
No.
I can see how some people might go in there, and that would be a big draw to make them feel scared, or there are
Right.
people that really do enjoy it.
And I think that bully guy likes that.
That
I
would be
think
scared.
he really likes people to be scared. He likes having people like that come in. And I mean, I think he likes that. So I also think that you'll see in the Estes method in one of the clips that Beth, at one time you said crazy sister. And I think that, and you had no idea that two sisters built that house.
No, none.
And I think
Well-
one of them ended up having mental problems, right, Jesse?
Well, okay, that's a part of the history that I was going to bring up a minute ago and I forgot. But so the house was used by Fanny as like a place that people could come. She wanted to help people, and so people would come there if they were ill or unwell, and she, they would be cared for there. This, before Fanny passed away, and before it was a brothel and all those things later on. Because Mineral Wells has natural springs that have minerals in them. Some of them, it's called crazy well.
Water.
Is that what it's called?
They
Crazy
call it
springs?
crazy water.
Yeah, they call it crazy water, and because it was thought at the time that it would help people that were mentally ill. And some of the minerals that they're really high in are actually used in treatment, like lithium and stuff like that. So it's actually used for treatment for mental illness. So it's possible that it did actually have a positive impact on some people. But yeah, so her sister, I don't think her sister was, I think her sister stayed there with her for some of the time. And I can't remember if her sister was struggling. But I do remember that, Beth, you had like a vision of a young girl coming to that house. She was like a young girl, and she had a brown hair and a ponytail. And she walked into your room, and there was like a quilt on the bed, and it was like very nice. And she was like happy about being there.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder if maybe you were, and you could see out the window, and there was like a carriage house kind of situation, I think you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder if maybe you were picking up on something that actually happened there, like maybe a young girl was sent there that wasn't well, and she was staying there, and it was a nice place because they were there to help her,
Mm-hmm.
Very possible.
Yeah.
Thought that was really interesting.
I think that was the distressing part for Beth and I, is that we had seen things in different rooms. And I know that we were both eager to get there and find those rooms and see if we could connect with the people that we'd been seeing. Well, that place was so tarted up, you couldn't tell what was what. They blocked all the windows off so we couldn't see outside. So I couldn't tell, Beth couldn't tell.
It was like a maze in there too.
Yeah. And we couldn't tell what rooms we'd been seeing because it was so full of all this stuff. Do you want to show people the fox picture?
Yeah. Why don't
This
we do
is
that?
interesting.
Hello,
This
fox
is-
cracked me once.
So,
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
that is creepy. I mean, there were lots of things in there that were creepy like that, but here's the really creepy part.
Yeah.
See how his head is turned?
And see how far he is back from the edge of the couch.
He wasn't like that all night long. His nose was at the very end of the couch
On the top.
and he was laying there straight. And as we were getting ready to leave, Beth was walking in front. You can see she's got that little lantern, and she goes, "Oh, the fox's head is turned." And we all looked, And we're like, what? We didn't do that, folks.
Nothing weird about having a fox on the back of your couch, but, to begin with.
But it was moved back 3 or 4 inches, and the
Yeah.
head was definitely and looking at us. That
Yeah,
was the
like
freakiest
watching
part.
where you're going.
Like, and we were like,
That's weird.
yeah, that was interesting.
That's a nice way to put it. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Before we do the Estes clips, we have 3 of them. Would you like to explain what the Estes method is for people that don't know?
Okay, so the Estes method, and that night we did let you listen to what comes over this, what they call a spirit box. Really, all it is like radio frequencies, and when you turn it up really high to get white noise really fast, and all you get is white noise, and every once in a while it scans through FM or AM, whichever one you have it turned to. You can choose either one, and then you can get words here and there, and the idea is that spirit can use that to talk over that actually, and you can hear words and you can get messages. When you're doing that, you wear headphones that are noise canceling headphones, and you're already listening to the white noise, so believe me, you can't hear anything else. And then you put on a blindfold so that it's sort of like, sensory deprivation, so that it's shutting you off from the outside world so that you can really concentrate and hear what spirit is trying to say. Now, for me, and I don't know if Beth picked up on this or not, I could tell the different energy talking through when she was saying the words. I could tell when it went from one entity to another entity. It's like if you're in a room with people that are really nervous or really angry or really happy, even without looking at them or anything, you can sense that energy, right? We can all do that, right? And it was like that. I could feel the energy. I could feel the energy change in the room, depending who she was listening to. There's a comment also before we do that. That fox, you all must have steadier nerves than I do.
We were okay until it bit us.
No, it never bit us. But really, that was Freaky Marjorie.
It really was.
And Beth didn't just go, "Oh, look at the fox." Beth went, "Oh, look at the fox." And I was like, "Oh, jeez." That was really creepy. And it was when we were leaving, that was the creepiest part, because it was looking straight at us, and it hadn't been
Like it had been asleep the whole time.
Yeah, like it hadn't been paying any attention. Then it's like, "You think you're going to leave?" And I'm like, "Great."
Yeah, well,
That was also the room that we heard the woman talk.
The room,
No, we were in the scrying room.
oh yeah.
Yeah, the scrying room. But we could hear her voice coming from the room where the fox was.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. And that wasn't picked up on any of our instruments.
Picked up on, yeah. But we could hear it. You couldn't understand what she was saying, but you could tell that it was a female. And I felt like there was some distress in her voice.
Yes.
But I could not make out what she was saying. And both Joan and I heard. Did you hear it too, Les? Les heard it too. Les hears nothing.
I hear nothing.
But he heard that.
When he heard that. Yeah, you could hear her talking, and it was like you were saying, Joy. It was like far away, but we could definitely hear her, and hear the tone of her voice was very
We were in the
stressed.
room around that poker table.
Yeah, around the poker table.
We were around the poker. We were all sitting there at the poker table. Yep. That's exactly. And I forgot that happened, and
Yeah.
it didn't come. And I had my record going. And it didn't pick it up. As a matter of fact, while we were sitting there, I rewound the recorder. Remember, because I was like, I want to hear it. It didn't pick it up. So frustrating. That place was frustrating.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Robin, first let's talk about what
Well, that's
Robin
right.
saw
Yeah.
because,
That was cool.
all right, there were 2 rooms there that I just really was filled with bad energy. One was this suicide bathroom where there apparently was really a suicide committed in there. The other one was the scrying room, and scrying is when people use a mirror and they usually paint the back of it black and they look into the mirror and for a spirit to come out and talk to them. Okay.
Not something we usually do.
No,
Actually, we never do it.
I've never done it.
Idle and that kind of thing.
No,
Yeah,
I
no.
don't do that either. I don't use Ouija boards. I don't do any of that. But that room had a really, really, really negative feeling to it. And Robin, why don't you tell them what you saw?
I know. I think you were all in one room at that time.
Yeah, we were all in the
And-
scrying room.
Right. Well, were you still in there? I think you had moved because I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
Yeah,
you'd
you were in
left.
another room.
Right. And for me, it was that camera was right here at the lower right. And I wasn't really sure if you had anybody else there with you, but I saw somebody sitting in the chair. And then they got up and they walked away. And I could still see it because they were just sitting. It was like, they were like this. And then they got up and they went like that way. And I said something. Who did I say something to? Jess, was it you? I said something, but yeah, about seeing somebody in that room. And then later on, I found out that no one was in there.
Yeah, you told
And
me
it
about
looked
it.
solid. It didn't look. I mean, the picture was a little grainy, so you had that, but it didn't look like I wasn't seeing through somebody or anything. It looked to me like somebody had sat down in the chair, was sitting there for like a second and a half, and then got up and walked out. So
Yeah, you told me about it, and I was in the control room, and I rewound the camera that they had on it, and there was nothing. I didn't see anything. So
it was, and
Camera
like I know I made a joke about it being late and I was hallucinating, but really I could still see it. I could still see that.
I think you saw something.
Oh, I think you saw
there was
something.
somebody there.
Did it follow us out of the room? Is that what happened?
You
No,
guys
you
weren't
already-
in there.
You were already out. You were not in there. You were gathered. I
Somewhere
think was
else.
it somewhere? Yeah. And when I first saw the person sitting there, I thought, oh, maybe you had somebody else with you I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And then they got up and walked away. And excuse me. And I was like,
Nope. Nobody else was in there.
I feel like you guys were in like the poker room or something. Is
Oh,
there-
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if that thing went towards the door, they would have been coming straight towards us, actually.
oh, okay. Okay.
Uh-huh. That's lovely to think about.
Which is also the area that when we first got there, the owner said he saw a shadow figure while we were there, and we went in to investigate that. That's when we heard the woman talk.
Okay.
So it was just a
Okay.
series of, at that point, of a couple things that had happened, but we just didn't get it as evidence, which is
We didn't get it on any equipment, unfortunately. George says maybe the fox was a familiar representing a human, like she's a fox. I don't. Maybe it was, I think, an entity trying to scare us. They startled us, that's for sure.
yeah.
And Chris Chrisman, hey Chris, how are you doing? We're glad to have you popping in.
When you clicked on it, you put a second one in.
I've never had a negative experience with shadow people. And he also said, hi, everyone. Just stopped by to say thanks for doing this recap show. Fascinating stuff. Yeah.
You're very welcome. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
glad
I think
that you're
Chris,
here.
I think when we were doing the live stream, Chris was popping in remotely from a fireworks show.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
We all enjoyed Joy's fireworks show.
Oh yeah, remember Joy? They were setting off fireworks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy, yeah, you could sure
Yeah.
hear that too. Okay, we're going to move along to the first Estes clip that we have, and it's about 4 minutes long. So sit back and relax and enjoy.
And you can ask questions later.
Cool.
99.
It's a good looking man.
What is your name?
59.
9959. I hope that's not your name. Do you know what year it is?
Cling.
Okay. How did you die?
Baby.
Were you a baby?
Habits.
Were you a baby when you died?
You're a dog park?
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of your dogs?
Are you a male? Are you
The first time.
Okay. This better not be a reincarnation thing.
Estes.
Are you a female?
1.
Can you see us?
Designed it.
Who is the president?
Dead.
Are you dead?
Attitude.
Why are you here?
Cold.
Are you happy?
Cold.
Are you cold? Are you sad?
Girl. Start it.
Does the little boy who died here want to speak? What is your name?
Can we slow it down at all?
Slow down what?
Gone.
What's gone? Who
Child.
are you the little boy?
Looks like I'm getting agitated. Help me.
Oh,
Just Jack.
is your name Jack?
I'm down.
Are you okay?
Closer.
Are you okay? Jack, we are worried about you. Are you okay? How old are you?
Rain. On me.
Is it raining on you?
Morphing.
Morphine. Morphine? I don't know.
Evil.
Is there evil here?
To me.
Mm,
Demon.
I'm
Do I die?
I think
Let's see where she said.
Yes, I think you did, baby. So that was hard to hear. That was hard to watch again. That was hard the first time. Still hard.
I have to correct one of my what I was talking about, my research, because I was just looking over my notes. It's been a minute since we did this last time, but the little boy was named Joshua, supposedly. I mean, like I said, couldn't find anywhere. I don't know where people are getting that information. In other words, his name was Joshua, and he was 6 years old. The boy that supposedly died was murdered in the home, and Toby, that's the name I pulled earlier. Toby is what they call the dark entity in that home.
Oh,
That
okay.
is, yeah. So I wanted to correct myself so that I'm not mixing up information.
There was a room called Toby's room,
Yes,
which we didn't spend a lot of time in that room.
No.
But they also said that one of the families, I guess somebody had rented the home at one point, and they were doing all kinds of dark magic and devil worship type stuff, and they felt like they had conjured this entity that they called Toby.
Yes.
So I do think that was a little boy. When you said, can you slow it down? Were you asking if we could slow it down, or were you asking the spirit, or is that something spirit said?
No, I was asking if we could slow down it was like I wasn't able to understand what was coming through.
Yeah.
I did it slower.
Yeah.
It was me.
You were asking the spirit to slow it down. Yeah. Well, I think for sure we can all think, see, afraid, and was it feeling cold, and
Yeah. And possibly down there meant the well. He died a horrific death.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was raining on you, just like broke my heart.
Broke mine too.
I could just picture a little boy just laying outside, dead.
Yeah.
Somebody just throwing him out like he was trash.
Yeah.
Well, we have some more cheery stuff to listen to.
Oh.
That one was hard. That
Yeah.
one was hard. That was hard when we were doing it, and it's hard rewatching it.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
I mean, he was talking about demons and everything, and I'm just like, okay.
All right. Let's head on to number 2. And this one's about 3 minutes long.
What's that barking?
Oh, it's me again.
Does the man hurt you? Oh, this is part of the last one we just did.
Stop. Live. Jorge. I'm not.
Get more shouty. You're not Jorge?
Eight.
Are you 8 years old? That is what I thought the little
Running.
boy was. Are you? Oh man.
All.
Are you an 8-year-old
You're home.
Did someone hurt you?
Bad.
Did a bad man hurt you? What are we doing over there?
The EMF went from 0.6, which it was until we started setting up for it. Then it started moving
I'm
up.
sure all the time.
The bottom number is the room is running about 3.4 now.
Cut.
And, you know, it'll tell you the spike in the last 10 seconds. The highest one we have is 14.1.
Did someone cut you?
Foot.
Someone cut you on the foot, or you got cut on the foot?
Down. That.
13.7, 15.
Yeah, so he's.
Was I calling?
We can hear you. Do you need help?
Game. Death.
26.9.
Game and death.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
Beautiful.
What's beautiful? What's beautiful? Okay, so Les, you want to explain what we were talking about when I said to you what's going on over there?
Yeah, I was with the tri-field meter, and it'll read the EMF in the room, and then also it has a second part that will give you the highest EMF that's happened in the last 10-second interval. So it'll show on the meter, it'll show 2.6, 10 point whatever, but on the one that brings the highest reading between all of that time that you're going, that like every 10 seconds or so it reboots. It could be 12, it could be 15, it could be 130. So it'll show where it's spiked up that the big meter is not showing. So that's what I'm calling out. Whenever it shows that we had a real small spike that is way up and above what the meter's showing all the time, then you've had, that would be the time to go back and look at your voice recordings and see if anything correlates with it.
And for this, it correlated with when Beth was hearing things.
Mhm.
So, so that's really cool that, we can do that at the same time. And that's evidential that, we're not just making this all up and spewing words, but that something is actually happening.
Yeah.
So, and I know that Les always does that. And it's really helpful, but it's really difficult to try to understand what they're trying to say if you're the person listening and then trying to interpret.
Mhm.
And now what I had done was I had written out all those questions the day before. I had written a bunch of questions down to ask to see if we could get, any answers. So then I didn't have to write down the question and the answer. This way I only had to write down the answers, what she was saying. So I don't write that fast. So.
Yeah, and I don't scream out every time it makes a little move or nothing, because I don't
No.
want to talk over what might be being picked up on the recording.
Right.
Well, I only kind of speak up when it's something different than what we've been seeing, and when it's quite a bit higher.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Sure.
While you were playing that clip, did you all hear the voices underneath?
Well,
It was like a bunch of voices talking.
Really?
no.
I just heard it while the whole time the clip was going. I could hear a bunch of voices underneath.
Both of the clips or just that one?
Just this one just
Why
now.
Why don't you play that again then? And let's see, if we can listen.
Well, and also none of us are
Muted.
muted, as a matter of fact, while these are on, I noticed. So,
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
but I didn't hear anybody else talking.
We'll be all quiet and we'll.
No, it was that same distant, a ton of people.
All right, let's listen
talking.
and we'll listen for that. We'll We'll bring up the same one.
I can't hear nothing. So what am I doing?
No, it was us, this 3.
No, it's 2. We haven't done 3 yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Does the man hurt you?
Stop. Live. Jorge. I'm not.
You're not Jorge? Okay, you can stop.
Sounds like white noise.
I can hear the words.
8.
Yeah, I hear
Are
I
you
hear
8
words
years
in it.
old? Can you turn
That
that
is
up?
what
I
I thought
agree.
the little boy
Running.
was.
I'm trying to turn it off.
I had to turn it up to hear it.
I
Yeah,
heard
we did
it.
too. We just turned it up.
Chris Chrisman heard it too. He said, yep, it was a jumble of distance background voices not clear, but there. And he said, white noise type. I heard the white noise.
Yeah.
And then I heard the voices on top of the white noise, which is exactly what it sounds like in the spirit box. But you were hearing it. That really good ears there. I heard it. I could hear those voices.
Yeah.
I hadn't picked those up before.
No.
Yeah, as soon as it came on, I'm like, and I kept looking at Joy because I thought, is Joy hearing it?
Well, I turned my sound down because it was a little loud, so I was down to like 35 or something. But then when I turned it back up, when you redid it, then I heard it.
I heard it too.
Interesting.
That's really interesting. We'll have to go over some of our evidence again.
Yeah.
Did you hear it, Beth and Les?
It sounded like white noise to me, but
Oh,
I
you
did
couldn't
hear
hear-
that.
But you couldn't hear the words on top of it?
I couldn't.
I
We
could.
could hear the voices.
How about you, Jesse?
Same as Beth. It just sounded like noise, and I heard that during the investigation, but just it just sounded like background noise to me, like white noise, you know.
Huh?
Yeah, we had to turn ours up really loud, but then we could hear the voices.
I could hear the voices talking over the white noise.
Interesting.
All I could hear was the same ringing.
Chris Chrisman said, I hear those voices late at nighttime from time to time like a radio in the distance. And I just realized Les was talking about his tinnitus.
Yeah.
Somebody answer that phone.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, right.
That might be part of like my life.
But yeah, Chris Chrisman, I can hear voices like that too. And that's what it sounds like to me, like a radio in the distance. I will sometimes hear spirit talking. And it used to drive me crazy because I'd say to Rob, okay, can you hear those voices? I am hearing a man and a woman talk. It's very annoying because I can't hear what they're saying.
Outside at the
Yes.
mailbox. It's okay. No.
And there's nobody outside at the mailbox, but I can hear people talking.
I
Chris
do that
Christian
too.
says sounds from the ether.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay, we have one more Estes to listen to. And listen for, we'll see if there's voices
we'll see
on
if
that
there's
as
the voices on that one in the
Are you
background.
listening?
Is this still the little boy talking?
You, stupid.
well. How rude.
This is not the little boy talking anymore. Who are you? What's your name?
Death. Starting it.
What are you starting?
Last chance.
Whose last chance?
Soul. There you go.
Wow.
Granny.
Granny. There you go, Granny.
There you go, Granny.
There you go, Granny.
Are you talking to me? Yeah. But I'm stupid.
You guys are trying it.
You betcha.
16.8.
It's a message.
What's the message?
Crazy sister.
Who has a crazy sister? Do you have a crazy sister?
More than. Cray.
Who are you? Tell us your name. What was the last chance? Last chance for what?
Soul.
Okay, you said soul twice.
Go away.
No,
Run.
no,
It's a crock.
It's
no.
America.
Whoa. Well, I think we know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
What's your name?
All serious.
We're serious. Oh, she's done.
I'm done.
Whew.
Okay.
What was it that you couldn't say? I'm not saying that you said on the one clip.
Yeah, I can't remember. Do you remember what I could not speak of?
No.
It was just an ugly statement, I'm thinking, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
Lavender training.
Yeah, it was something.
So did anybody hear a heartbeat in that? Because I would hear every now and then, I mean, like every few seconds it would be boom, 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 boom. So it's like,
I just heard voices. I didn't hear a heartbeat.
Marjorie Daring says, I couldn't hear anything, but I keep finding myself distracted by the lavender training bra over Beth's eyes.
That is what it looks like.
Don't mind me. I'm a little sleep deprived today. That would be the blindfold. Oh gosh. No, I just heard white noise that time. I didn't hear any voices at all.
No,
Yeah, I heard
no,
voices
just
in
heard
and
white,
out.
I heard white noise, and then there would just be a little subtle, like,
Yeah.
A couple of times I heard Les giving, an update on the
Right.
On the spike.
On a spike, yeah.
Like it was up to 10 and stuff
Right.
like that.
But other than
But-
that, I didn't hear anything.
But that was
So it's just me.
You could hear it that time?
that was, but that kind of that like noise and the voice, that was totally different than what I was catching when Robin and I were hearing that. I mean, it was really more like just humans talking,
Yeah.
just.
See, I was hearing some of that in there of humans talking. And the last one, the prior video, it sounded like that to me all the way through.
It did to
Oh,
me
okay.
also. I could hear that
I mean,
also.
I could hear it, but it wasn't as clear as when it was just you and I. It really sounded like like people outside or something.
Right. Like,
And the interesting thing is that these
That sort
are
of thing.
these are digital broadcasts. They're not like taped recordings. You know what I mean?
So it
it's not
isn't
like
something that was
something that was
looped
taped over or anything.
Yeah,
right.
It's all digital. So
digital. So you can't see that.
Interesting.
yeah,
I'm
not
just
sure what
nuts.
it means. Yeah.
No, I think you were hearing something. I think sometimes, like, there are times, like I said, where I can hear conversations and Rob can't hear it. And, but I'm definitely hearing it.
So I'm not alone. That's good, because otherwise I'd be going to bed thinking I'm crazy.
Well, now see, that's when I hear it, when everything is off in the house, or either I'm going to bed and then it's like, is somebody outside talking, or I've actually gotten up because I thought maybe I mean, we don't use a radio, but it's like, sounds like a radio's going on the other side of the house or something.
Does sound
Right.
like the radio.
Chris Chrisman says you are not alone. So either we're all crazy or none of us
Yeah.
are crazy.
I'm not. I don't hear anything.
You heard something that night.
Well, let's hear from Les and his tools of the trade.
Oh,
Recording.
yeah.
Be careful because it may be a little loud. I don't know what happened, but it sure did seem to record loud.
It recorded loud.
So get ready to turn your sound down if you have.
Maybe I was yelling.
Because we can't turn it down.
It's
No,
the
it was
music
the
at
way
the
it
beginning.
recorded.
So, okay, here we go.
This is bad. All right, tonight on Tools of the Trade, we're going to talk about a smaller device that we use that's called a crosshair. And what it is it's a thermal IR detector, small piece of equipment. It looks like this. And what it does is, as the name says, it works off of temperature changes. And it sets up a field in front of it off the top that is 60 degrees in width and also 10 foot out from the device. Now, as it's called, it's got these axes, all right, north, south, east, west, I call them. And as you do it, as something enters the field, if it's further out away, see, it picks it up there. And if you come closer, it'll tell you really how far away it is. As it gets closer, it fills it up. Now, back to the blue. Now, if something enters from the side, what it'll pick up is on the east-west axis. And as the entity moves across the screen, it will light up and move across with it. And basically, it doesn't set up a grid that you can see or anything. It's infrared. And as something with a temperature change at all shows up in that area, then it shows it to you. Also, you can use it if someone feels like they're being bothered by an entity or the entity is pushing in close on them and stuff. You can set it to where it will calibrate on that person and then shut off. Then if anything happens to enter into it, it'll show most likely blue, but it'll show that entity around the person. They say that everybody that's in the business says the best way to use this is to also incorporate a infrared camera with it. And you would have this in front, and when something moved through, of course, you'd know, but you would have the infrared camera set behind it to catch everything that's in the room. So you use the two together to kind of confirm each other as to what's going on. Really, it's just one of the small tools that we have that are helpful, and usually we'll use it after we decide that there's something probably in the area. If you just set it around when you go into a place, then it's probably not going to do you much good. But if you've discovered through your other equipment stuff that there's most likely something here, then you would set this up. And if you have a FLIR, which is a heat camera, You can set that up with it. And that's pretty much it. It's a simple little machine, but will excite you when it starts going on. Anyway, thank you.
He's not kidding.
Good job.
We get excited by a lot of stuff. I can remember one time when we were investigating
Again?
where you used to work.
Oh, yeah.
Wes, and we had the REM pod in that back room, and we
Yeah.
were all in the front offices, and it went off. There was a stampede to that
Yeah,
room.
we were running into each other trying to get through the door and get out there.
Yep. And then we used the SLS camera, and we were actually able to see the entity that was setting it off. And we said, if raise your hand and wave, and the thing goes. We were like, yeah, that was fun. We live for this stuff, folks.
We do.
Yeah. You want to read that?
Yeah, if you have any needs in your house, if you live in the Tampa Bay area, Central Florida, you
Not
can
any
contact.
needs. Only
Right.
of the paranormal investigatory.
Oh, yeah,
Not your lawn mower.
yeah.
Yeah.
We won't come and mow your yard.
Yeah, we don't do
Specific.
Here's the two places that you can email Les, the funny guy in the last film
Tools
clip,
of the trade.
at lesgre28@aol.com, or Kristen at KREINISCH2@gmail.com.
You've not met Kristen yet. I don't know if we'll ever get her to come on camera, but it'd be good
She's
if we
come on
could.
once. I think
she
her first
come
podcast she came on.
Did she? Oh, okay. Maybe she was. I think you're right. Kathy was too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty sly.
Yes. That's okay. I make up for it.
Also, you should drop by TampaBaySpirits1.com, and all of the videos and all of the audio podcasts are there to catch up on if you are just watching for the first time, or if you missed any. Also, our store, you can visit our store that's there and get all sorts of
Yeah, buy neat stuff.
Tampa Bay Spirits
Shirts.
merch.
Yeah, lots of merch.
Yeah.
Shirts and great tote bags. I love my tote bag.
Her bag's awesome.
It is. They really are awesome. I have 2 of them. And I have multiple sweatshirts.
Our next live show podcast should be on September 28th. That's a Thursday night. That's the last Thursday in September, barring another
It's my
hurricane.
birthday.
Woo,
That's
great,
right.
We'll celebrate. We might want to do it a different time then.
No, we're going to have her birthday party on the 30th.
Oh, we'll have her. Oh, okay. That's right.
It's
I'll wear a
secret.
birthday hat.
I was
Okay.
gonna say we could all.
It's a secret party. Hey.
All right.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
right.
Well, I thought she planned what we were going to do.
Well, don't tell my mom if it's a secret.
It's not.
What?
I'm just messing with her.
What's our next topic going to be? Are we doing pet hauntings?
Well,
Are we going to what?
Pet hauntings?
Oh, I thought we'd done that.
we did the pet hauntings.
We
already,
did pet
didn't we?
hauntings. Yep.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just testing you.
Oh,
What are we going to do next time?
Well, we had talked about possibly, somebody had suggested doing one about the aftermaths of the tsunamis over in Asia,
Japan.
the one in Japan, and then there was another one too, wasn't there, somewhere that had
No, we were
similar
just
kind of
talking
thing?
about the Japan
The
one.
Japan one was pretty crazy. All the
There's been a
activity
lot of
after that.
activity out of there. So does that sound good to everybody? I mean, those stories are amazing. It's still
I've
going
heard-
on.
I've heard stories of the ones that came from Thailand also.
Yeah,
Thailand,
that's what he's talking about. The other one.
Oh,
That was, yeah, the Thailand one was years before the Japan one, but I think maybe just do the Japan one.
Yeah, if there's enough to do just one, that's cool. Yeah. So if you guys want to do that, we'll do that.
Sure.
There's I think he's a Buddhist monk, and his wife have a cafe where they serve tea and that sort of thing. And they've made it a place where people can come and talk about all of these things and the loss that they had during these tsunamis, because there's no place else where they can go and talk about those things, because I guess it's, not culturally acceptable. But he and his wife have made it possible for them to talk about it there, and it's become a very healing place. If I ever go to Japan, I want to go to their cafe, have some tea.
So then in November, we're planning on going to the May Stringer house, and hopefully we will do a live broadcast from that investigation and try to do the same thing we did in Haunted Hill House.
November 18th. That should be more interesting. There should be a
Yeah.
lot more activity.
Yeah.
Where is the Maystringer house?
Brooksville.
It's in Brooksville, Florida, up
Okay.
north of Tampa. Yeah.
I live far away, so I didn't know.
It's a museum, but it's haunted, and so then they allow investigators to come in and investigate. Is it just on Saturdays, Les?
Yes.
Yeah. So the museum is closed, and so then they let us come in there and poke around and
Nice.
do things. Yes.
8 until 2.
Yes.
And we usually stay till 2.
Stay till 2.
If we
On
could
the
stay
Saturday.
up that late.
Well, you have to be done, loaded up, and out the door by 2. But
Yeah. It takes a while to set up and
Oh my goodness.
And
That was
then-
a lot of work.
break down. It's a lot of work.
We'll have
Yeah.
more people to help this time.
yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes. Yes. We'll have as many people as we had. Well, almost as many people as we had at the train depot.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as the Hill House investigation?
Or any more questions or anything
Questions
like that?
or comments?
One more comment from Chris Chrisman. He said he used to get up and check a radio wasn't on or not the neighbors. Yeah, that's what I always do too.
Mhm.
I'm always like, it's very frustrating. If they would at least say it loudly enough so I could hear what they were talking about and I could really eavesdrop.
Yeah. This is funny because I sleep with like an earbud in playing a podcast or something because I can't sleep in silence. Because I can't.
because of
it's
hearing
not
things.
silent.
I can't either because I got to get up and answer the damn phone all night if I go without something on.
Now, see, I have a Google Home right there, and a lot of times I'll just, hey Google, play ocean sounds, and I'll go
Yeah.
and I'll listen to ocean sounds all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
have
there's
to be
gotta
listening
be
to things.
some noise because I can't.
Yeah, because otherwise spirits are talking all night long. You're like, let me see.
I look out the window, and if the motion detector light hasn't come on, I figured it's nobody really out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'd be doing that all night long, you know?
Exactly.
It's
very
funny the
nice.
things that people are sensitive to that they don't think that anything about it until they talk to somebody else because they think it's just something weird I'm doing, and then they realize there's other people
Just
that
as
pick
weird.
up on the same things.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of us weirdos out there.
Yeah.
I'm proud of being a weirdo.
I am.
Makes
I'm glad
life
I'm a
more
weirdo.
interesting.
I mean,
Yeah.
I still cannot, I just cannot go into a room where there's a closed shower curtain. Can't do it. I have to open the shower curtain.
Well, otherwise, you get all wrapped
I
up.
bet your floor gets really wet.
We have a door that you can see through. Not a shower curtain.
That was a good one.
Yep. Because the shower curtain is like, there could be somebody standing in there.
Psycho.
Yeah. Ever since I was a little kid, you would freak me out. I would always think that there was somebody in there ready to jump out.
Well,
So did
my
you watch
daughter-
Psycho? Is that where that came from?
I did watch Psycho, but not when I was a little child.
Well, that's true.
That why I didn't watch it till I was an adult.
I was just
My
teasing.
daughter does the same thing. And it drives me crazy because she goes into the bathroom and she opens and every time I go in the bathroom, I have to close the shower curtain again. She's constantly, we're having a shower curtain battle.
Yeah, well, it's one of the signs of being a sensitive that a child does that, and it's probably because there is something in there, you know. I used to always be hearing things and seeing things in my room when I was a kid, and always my parents would come in and say, "There's nothing there," and I'd be like, "Yeah, there is," but
I should have mentioned things to my mother because she would have loved to have me share that stuff with her. Because when my uncle and his friend came down and there was something, they brought something with them, excuse me, and she was just fascinated. And I thought, oh, I never told her anything that happened to me.
huh?
I mean, she passed away when I was 14, so I never got the chance.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, she died when you were young. That's hard.
Yeah, she was young too. She was 34.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring everybody down. I was just.
Did she have cancer?
No, she had an aneurysm that they found,
Whoa.
and they operated on it successfully, but she never regained consciousness afterwards. And she
Oh,
passed away 3 days later.
that's terrible.
And when I went to see her before the surgery, and she said to me, I said, well, goodbye, Mom, just because that was an automatic. And she said, don't say goodbye. Don't ever say goodbye. And I didn't see her again. So,
No.
Wow. That's
yeah,
pretty-
sorry. I don't really want to, I didn't mean to bring that up.
That's part of life, though.
Well, and you know what's funny is it's part of paranormal investigation. So if you think about it always starts that way, you know, with
And
loss.
she came to me when I had my second child, and I was upset, and I don't remember exactly what was going on. And I was rocking him in the cradle. In the rocking chair, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and all of a sudden I could hear her. She just right next to me after not hearing her voice for years, and she said, "It'll be all right." And I was like, yeah, I think it will. But up till that point, I wasn't sure because I was really not in a good state. But yeah. So,
That's cool.
That is cool. And that reminds me when we did our episode about like angels, and the interesting thing to me was that in pretty much every story I found, the angel that they described turned out to be like they would see then, oh, Mom, this is the person I saw, and it was, you know, their great grandmother they never met, or, you know, like things like that. It was some family member, or that astronaut who, you know, didn't think they were going to make it back, and his father talked to him and said same thing. He was like, it's going to be okay, you know, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, you know, my grandmother came to me and she told me everything was going to be all right. And she also came to my sister Denise and told her everything was going to be all right. And both of us in very difficult times in our life. She came to me in physical form, like as a solid person.
Yeah.
Then she disappeared, which solid people don't do. I really thought it was someone that looked like my grandmother who'd been dead for years and just was being very kind to me. I mean, she touched my hand and everything, patted my hand and told me, don't worry, it's going to be okay.
That's nice.
I know. It's amazing.
It is nice.
Yeah, it's comforting. And that's why I really do think that it was probably either Nadine's mom or her brother that came and tapped her on the shoulder. You know?
Yeah, because she didn't get a bad feeling about it. She wasn't afraid. She immediately, like Beth said, her thoughts immediately went to her brother and her mother. So it wasn't like she was, I don't think she was fearful. He didn't say she was.
No, he didn't. And this is so Chris Chrisman said the enlightened tend to be secretive about voices, etc. He's talking about anyone who's sensitive. And then he said, keeps us out of the mental lockdown. That's LOL.
There you go.
I don't know. It's like people have thought we were crazy for a very long time, and they may be
They
right.
may be right. There may be something to that. The votes aren't all in.
But I love doing investigations because I really want to understand what's going on. You know what I mean? And I really like to get evidence. So I think that now that we're talking about it, we actually had a lot of things happen to us there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's frustrating to me when I can't show someone a video. The flashlight thing was great. I mean, it was very clear that there were no parlor tricks going on there. There was nobody turning that on or off. It was going on and off by itself.
And by reviewing it, like, recapping it like we did tonight, we cut out all the standing there waiting, standing there waiting, standing there waiting, and standing there waiting times. So it's good to see those results,
Yeah.
capsulized.
Yeah.
That works good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool too. I mean, it was really fun to get, because I couldn't go, to experience it that way, and also to have you guys giving me the info. I loved getting that, because also, like I've mentioned several times, I do like to find documented evidence to back up the paranormal claims at a location if I can, or for any paranormal type story. And even though I was struggling to do that in this case, having you to confirm things that I would read and go, well, I don't know where this is coming from, and then you two would come in and be like, I'm seeing this. I mean, I even have in my notes, you guys sensed that there were at least four deaths there, and two of them were very violent.
Yes. Very
And
bad.
so that adds up with, I mean, like, we know a woman, we know a murder-suicide, we know the boy who had a terrible death. Those are four, and all violent. And so I just thought it was really interesting. So even though that is still experiential and anecdotal, it's really cool to do things like that, because we can kind of confirm things in a way,
So it puts the puzzle together.
Well, it helps Beth and I too.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're seeing things and feeling things, you're seeing things and feeling things, so you don't know if that's your mind making it up or whatever. But when you have, somebody else that's saying, okay, well, that's what happened there, then you're like, okay.
And that's why you go in cold.
Yeah.
That is why we go in cold, because we don't want to, we don't want our imagination running away with us. So Chris Chrisman said, thanks everyone for doing these investigations. The world needs to know the truth. Death is not the end. You bring comfort to those who are scared of the unknown. Thank you, Chris. And death is not the end, for real.
That's right.
We're all made out of energy, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So, yep, it continues on. No doubt about it. That's physics. I love bringing science into paranormal investigations. But yeah, I want to know what's happening. I want to understand it better, and I would love to be able to get one of the best pieces of evidence I've ever seen was, Ted Vanson, who's the station manager of this radio station, was doing an investigation with the ghost hunters in upstate New York. it was actually Ted's investigation. It was when they were doing it under a different name rather than Ghost Hunters. It was, I don't remember what the name of it was, but you could see a little girl, and that's who they were going there to see, walk right through the room. It was the best video evidence I've ever seen in my life. It was so amazing. I loved it. And we saw it on a TV show, and there it was Ted. We were like, that's Ted.
Crazy.
He's been on our other podcast. But yeah, that I'd love to get evidence like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes apparitions are see-through and sometimes they're solid. Like you said, Robin, that it looked like a real person, not an apparition.
Right.
And that they can appear both ways. I would love to understand why. What's the difference?
Right. I mean, I think I told you about the man in the living room at that Christmas party I went to.
Yes.
And he looked as solid as could be, but I could only see him out of the corner of my eye. And he was sitting in the chair, nodding and smiling at me. And then I turned to face him, and he was not there. And then I turned away, and there he would be, and he would look solid, just totally solid.
See, I've heard that before too.
About
People think,
the corner of your eye.
the corner of your eye, and then when
Yeah.
you look at it, you can't see him. That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, that's the only time where it's been like that. Normally it's, right in front. But yeah, it was just, because I kept doing it. I'm like, come back. And he'd just nod and smile. And I turn away and I'd see him and look back. And nobody there.
Now, what I should tell you is that when we were reviewing all the static camera stuff, there were a million insects flying through there. Yes.
Lots of bugs.
But, I've seen lots of other shows go, here's an orb. And I'm like,
There's an orb. Yeah.
it's not an orb.
Not an orb. It's never an
It's a
orb.
bug. It's never an orb. It's either dust or moisture or an insect. It is sometimes an
It
orb.
is.
But
It's very distinct when it is real.
yeah, like Beth and Les have a really interesting piece of video footage of. It looks almost like a butterfly or
Very.
a fairy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It's something with wings, and
Yeah.
it's flying around the room.
And it's large enough that it was, if our eyes could see it, if it was like a dragonfly or something, you would have seen that.
Yeah.
Because
It was bigger than a dragonfly because it had full wings
really
that,
big.
that were solid, not see-through, I didn't
Mhm.
see a little body though.
And in real time, we see nothing.
Yeah.
You weren't.
I mean,
you weren't seeing it.
Orb I saw when I was 10 years old. That was before they ever had all these, programs and everything. And that was huge. It was huge. And yeah, but that was at my grandmother's
Did
house.
it-
I
and
told
it-
that
did
story
it-
before.
Emit its own light.
Oh yeah. It was sort of,
That's the
Greenish?
difference with the real.
it was greenish, and it came out of the bathroom where that guy had killed himself. I
Oh,
told that story
yeah.
before. I'm like, yeah. And it came out of the bathroom and just started like moving like this, up and down, as it was coming down the hallway.
Tom Nally's empty chair is visiting us. Hi, Tom. Tom doesn't live too far from you, Robin. He's in Pennsylvania also.
Okay.
Is he Pennsylvania?
So-
He's Pennsylvania.
Right. As I say, it's a big state, but
Don't ask Rob where people live because he keeps
Closer.
getting it
that's
wrong.
right. He thought I was from Tampa, I think, or living in Tampa.
He said to me,
She's just
yeah,
down the
Robin's
road.
in Tampa. And I said, Robin is? And he said, yes. And he said, we can do a book signing with her. We can get together and get some
Yeah.
people together here and we'll have a book signing. And I'm,
He's a Philly.
I'm like, I could maybe travel
Philly.
there. Oh, he's in Philly. Okay, you're not that far.
no, I know he's not that far from you.
See, I told you he was near.
You know.
Come your way, Robin. I'd like to
I'm
come
sorry.
to Gettysburg and do some investigating up.
Oh, it's funny. My son, I've been there a couple times with my son, my oldest son. It's always been, go in, see the battlefields and stuff. But I have always wanted to go back and actually take the time and see what I could hear and see and feel. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he'd be up for that. I might have to go by myself.
Well,
It's
if we come up, you can come with us.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I'm
Okay.
like, let's all go.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
would be
yeah.
great. Oh my God.
I love
that.
I love investigating Philly. I mean Philly. I mean Gettysburg. I love
Yeah.
being there. It's I think anyone who feels like they're not a sensitive, all they have to do is go to Gettysburg and they're going to feel it. You feel it. I don't see how anyone could not feel
Yeah.
it there. It's really thick.
Has Les been?
Yes, and
Yeah.
he is
Yes.
he's seeing ghosts there.
I've seen
Okay.
fireflies everywhere.
That would be the test. He never sees anything. He doesn't hear anything.
He
Uh,
never
Except when he
sees
does.
anything. He never hears anything.
Nothing else.
Yes, he does.
Except when he does.
Yeah.
Have y'all done an investigation? I know we talked about it for a little bit one time. Have y'all actually done an investigation there?
In
At
Gettysburg,
Gettysburg?
Yeah.
informally.
Yeah.
Informally, Les and I have, and I think you have also,
Oh yeah.
Rob.
Yep.
We got some very interesting pictures off the battlefield.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you go back, if you're serious and you go back and you're going to do one, let me know.
Absolutely.
Great.
We actually have some SLS evidence from when we were investigating in Gettysburg. We had a lot of things happen there. We had an entity smoke a cigarette. Not kidding. Now that's weird. You think it's weird seeing a flashlight turn on and off by itself. Seeing a cigarette being smoked by an invisible person is
Very odd.
very odd.
I
I
bet.
bet.
Tom Nally says, funny that campfire is in the background. I'm sitting out back with the fire right now. That sounds like fun, Tom.
Yeah, we definitely
does
not in
sound
Florida.
But yeah, it's I don't think you can go to Gettysburg without seeing something or hearing something. We've heard cannon shot, we've heard rifle shots, you know.
Sitting outside by a campfire is like at night, the perfect time to listen to
Ghost stories.
those stories.
Yeah, it is.
Perfect
You
way to
should-
do it.
You should have
Pops
tuned
it
in
right.
earlier when we were doing all of our recaps of
Yes.
Haunted Hill House. Oh no. Tom said, needed some relaxed time, taking it easy
Oh.
after having to get 5
Ouch.
staples in my head yesterday. What happened? How did you get hit in the head? Or did you have surgery? We will find out in a moment. Takes a while to type this stuff out.
Well, it's much too hot and much too wet outside right now for
Yeah.
us to have a fire.
Oh yeah, we couldn't start a fire here.
I don't know if you've noticed, I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
Oh my gosh.
Is
It never gotten hot today at all. It was chilly all day. And now that the sun is down, it's even colder. It wasn't freezing. It was in the low 70s with the wind and low humidity. And with the windows open, I started to get cold. So I thought I'll put on a sweatshirt.
It's gotten chillier here. I think it maybe was 76 today, but this morning when I was going to do the walk thing, it was like 56 or something like that. So it's really cooling off.
Yeah, it's chillier here. It was 89 today.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
The
go.
low was 89.
Down into the low 90s.
Put on a blanket and everything.
It's like a cold
Tom
front.
Tom says at work, tripped backwards over a 4x4 post and the back of the head hit the edge of a
Ooh.
wooden plank, busted open a bit. Oh, I'm so sorry that hurt. Ooh,
Yeah.
yikes. Ouch, Tom. Ugh. That's not fun at all.
No.
I'm glad that you're okay and we're not investigating you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gettysburg is just great, you know. I've never seen soldiers though. I know you have, Les and Beth, but I've never seen that. I want to.
I smelled the baking bread when we were like at the place, right? I guess their main center, and I kept saying I'm smelling bread, and I said, let's go get some of that fresh bread, and there was nothing going on at all in the cafeteria. And then when we started our tour right there, we just went like a block, and they said, this is the house where the only woman that was killed in Gettysburg,
Jenny.
she was baking bread
Yep.
for the soldiers.
And she was
And-
shot.
Yeah. And
it
like by a
was-
stray bullet or something.
It
And,
was a stray bullet went through the house and just happened to hit her.
but it was just a very, very, I didn't see anything. I mean, other than that was the only thing. But I mean, when we initially got there and got out of the car, this heaviness just
Yes.
felt like it was sitting on your chest.
No
Yes.
doubt about that. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. So much sadness there. So Tom says, LMAO, when I cross over, you will all know I will be playing tricks and pranks on everyone.
Sounds like you.
It does sound like him. And we've had more than one person say they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I'm ready.
I saw a Hessian soldier in Flemington, New Jersey once.
Oh, did
Wow.
you?
And it was so weird because was in a shopping center and I turned around and he was standing behind me and then he was gone. So
From the
nothing else
Revolutionary
happened
War.
except that.
That's
I just,
good.
I was like, I felt something behind me and I was like, I turned and looked and I was like, did I just see what I thought I saw? And I turned and looked again and he was still there and then he was gone.
Wow.
It was weird.
Tom says, especially we'll be doing that to our friend Dominic. Yes, good idea. Yeah, it must have been from the Revolutionary War.
Yes. Especially, that area, that it would make sense.
Yeah, there were battles fought there for sure. But yeah,
So then you
Well-
wonder, was that like a residual haunting? Was that like a time slip?
Yeah, see, sometimes I wonder about that as far as time slips because
Mm-hmm.
that will happen if if I go in an antique store.
Mm-hmm.
I avoid touching anything because sometimes I'll touch something and I'll either visualize it or I will like see it, like almost like
I can't
Yes?
do that. I want to do that. I have tried to do that. John Russell said he can teach me how to do that. He hasn't written the book yet. He's got to get on the stick and do that. But that's what do they call that?
Psychometry.
Psychometry. Thank you.
okay. Yeah, but it's not the same as a time slip. Sorry.
No, psychometry is when you hold something or touch something
Yeah.
and there's an impression from the person that owned it.
Yeah, and that I can't say that's happened recently. It used to happen quite often until I stopped touching stuff. And now it does. Well, now if I touch something like an antique, it doesn't necessarily happen. There might be a little glimpse, but it used to be like it was a constant bombardment. And I was just like, don't stop touching that furniture. You're not buying it anyway.
Robert White is tuned in. We're having an Australian and Aussie next Wednesday on our Meet the Author podcast, Robert. I don't know if he's from your neck of the woods, but he's saying, yeah, psychometry. Thank you. Yeah. I have tried it and, everyone said, oh, you can do it. You can do it. You can do psychometry. And I've tried, I get bupkis, you guys, nothing. It's like, okay, I'm holding an antique teacup. That's it. I can tell you what it looks like because I am looking at it. I don't know who owned it or what they did with it or anything.
Yeah, and it's not like everything I would pick up that it would happen because I think I would have gone nuts if that was the case. But yeah, sometimes it would just happen. It would just
Now we
with force.
do have this antique mirror frame. It's the mirror has been replaced, but the frame is old. But I think probably about 200 years old now, because it was about 150 years old when we first bought it. And we also have this a bin that used to hold coffee beans back in the day when in the general store. And I have had a lot of antiques and I've gotten rid of a lot of them, and I can't get rid of those two things. I mean, I'm really attached to them. So I don't know what that is.
Right.
Hoarding.
No, it's not hoarding. I got rid of my roll top desk. I've gotten rid of most of my antiques, but those two pieces I won't. Yeah, and Robert says, or which lips graze the cup. Yep, I can't pick up on any of that, Robert. It's just like, nope. I've tried picking up. I've tried touching the mirror frame and that coffee bean bin, and nope, nothing.
Have you gone to estate sales where they're actually in the house? I mean, I went to two, and the second one that I went to, I'd never go back again because, I mean, I don't see things, but I get like impressions, and I just felt like that they just felt like that was the biggest violation to have all these people wandering around through their
That's
things.
sad. Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's just creepy. I did end up actually, it was wild. There was I had this like big old, like one of those coffee picture books. It was like an old one from World War II or something like that. And then I found an actual first edition of Old Man and the Sea. And then a couple of things, because the man apparently was a professor at Princeton or something. And so I took those up there, and she went through them, and she said, let me look at those. We may have priced those wrong. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, okay, Old Man and the Sea is going back, because it was like $5. And she looked through all of those, and she said, those are fine. And she took the big picture book that probably was worth nothing. And she said, no, this one is 15. And I'm like, okay, I'll take those then. So, but the whole time I was there, I just wanted to get out of there. And because I knew I was going to take care of them, because people are just rummaging through things. And the whole time I was feeling, I could just tell it was I didn't know anything about the person when I walked in there. I could just tell he was an older man, and he was like distinguished, and he just hated people, rummaging through his things. And but I never went back to another one, because it just seems like such a personal violation.
Yeah, you don't want to be rummaging through their things and upsetting them. I get it.
Right, especially because they're all massed together, like in one place, and it's usually shortly after they passed.
Right.
Yeah, and I get you. I've never had that experience, but I can understand
some things can literally have an attachment, though, which is different than psychometry. Because psychometry, you're just picking up on the person who owned it, but an attachment is that person is still there with it.
Well, if he's part of any of those books, they went to Houston with my son. So
don't tell your son.
He wouldn't believe it anyway.
I don't think that was an attachment. I think you were sensing him. He was probably still there, but I think you've said that there are probably attachments at May Stringer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because they have some antiques there from other places.
Mm-hmm. They don't have dolls hanging from the ceiling, though.
No, I hate dolls. They creep me out.
I kind of like the hands in the break room there, though.
Yeah.
Hands up in the
on
window.
the curtain.
Oh,
up
yeah.
on the top of the curtain.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yep.
I think
maybe let's put the box up again for people who joined the show late. We did a live broadcast live streaming from a house that we investigated in Texas.
Kind of looks like a Texas house.
So
Yeah.
now, see, the thing about this box, you guys, is all night long, the head was
Straight
all
ahead.
the way to the end of the sofa there, in the top of the sofa, and it was looking straight ahead. And when we were leaving, it had turned around and was looking at us as we left.
Mhm.
It was so creepy. This house was tricked out with so many things. It was silly. Not what we expected. Well, I think we should wrap things up,
I
huh?
think we probably should.
Kept everybody late enough.
Jesse, any last comments here?
No.
No? Laura, you got anything you want to say?
No, it's great to hear all of this. I really enjoy it. I learn a lot.
Good, good. Thanks for joining us. Robin?
No, because if I start talking, we'll go on for hours. I blab a lot, but no. I enjoy this a lot. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, is everybody good with doing the tsunami in
Tsunami.
Japan? And
I think it was 2011. I'm not sure what the date, but I think it was 2011.
Yeah, that sounds great. We can
because
listen
I
to
think we can get a lot of stories from that.
Yeah.
Jesse, if you want to jump in and do the deep dish research, and not a pizza.
Deep dive.
Deep dive. Yeah, that's what we want.
Deep dish.
Okay.
Paul Hollis says, fascinating show. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Thanks for
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining.
I know. Thanks for watching.
Beth and Les. You got anything you want to say?
Nah.
Okay.
Marjorie Deering says, here, yep, put that one up. Thanks all. See you next time. Yeah, next
Thank
time
you,
will be
September
September
28th.
28th on Beth's real birthday. And I spoiled the birthday surprise. They were having a surprise party on the 30th.
It was no surprise.
She knew about it.
I did.
Yeah. See that.
Les was yanking my chain.
Could happen.
We should all wear hats.
Birthday hats.
There you go.
Yes. Well, she wants. No, I won't say. I was going to say it, and then I thought, no. Best left unsaid.
Do y'all live in the same town?
We live near each other,
Near
towns near each other. They live in a
Okay.
different county,
Like-
but
Like
Okay.
35 miles away, 40 miles.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they live in Pinellas County. We live in Hillsborough County. Jesse lives
Okay.
in Hillsborough.
I'm just curious. I didn't mean to stop everything, but I just,
That's okay.
I assumed
Okay,
you
we're gonna stop everything in a minute anyway.
did.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, you all be safe. I don't know if there's more coming.
Oh my
There's
there's
god.
always more
There's always
coming,
more.
Rob.
This is
Robin.
we just entered peak
We're
season.
in hurricane season. It was so frustrating to me because the hurricane came during the night, right? And then in our daughter, it said, because we live in a mobile home, she wanted us to go to her house. So we did. Not this daughter, a different daughter, Colleen. And she has a Great Dane, the sweetest dog in the world. Her name is Scarlet. And we have a little tiny dog, Missy, who has disc problems. So she can't really be knocked around by a Great Dane, right? And so I was holding our dog, and Scarlet, who has to come over and see Grandma all the time, came over. And our little dog, Missy, goes, "Arr," growls at her, and Scarlet backs up really fast. It's so silly to see this dog that's the size of a horse afraid of a little dog. But
Huge.
anyway, yeah, they finally got to know each other, and they were nosing each other, which is funny because Scarlet's nose is about the size of Missy's head. It's probably bigger than Missy's head.
Yeah.
And
But Missy has big girl energy.
yes, she does.
That's for sure.
Missy has a big bossy girl energy, right? She does. But
That's how they come in our family.
Pretty
that's
sure.
how all the girls are in our family, which was funny because on that shell reader that we had on the podcast on Wednesday night, the one that reads shells, and so she kept asking me which shell was I most attracted to, and I said, well, I guess that has to be a conch. And she said, oh, that's usually a fighting spirit that that fights and stands up for itself. And I said, oh, really? That's odd.
Doesn't resonate.
No,
I had never heard of shell reading in my life. That was really
I
interesting.
haven't either.
Yeah,
I missed that.
that really is interesting, you know, but it's just like reading tea leaves or tarot cards. It's more like tarot cards. It's more like tarot cards because she has like 500 shells that people can choose from. And depending on what they choose, then that's how she can read what they're like.
Where's she located?
Massachusetts.
Okay.
I told you that she wants to train me to do it in my spare time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It'll take you a while just to get 500 shells, let me tell you.
Oh,
What's pretty odd is that I've been collecting shells my whole life. I've got them on.
Really?
I have them on shelves I know it's really weird, right? I have them on shelves in my living room. I have them in big jars. I have them.
Well, then maybe you have 500.
I know. Oh, I probably have more than 500.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you were destined to meet.
No.
no, it wasn't in the shells.
It wasn't in the shells. No.
Oh.
Chris Chrisman said readers use different tools. Yeah, they find what worked for them. Me as tarot cards. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I think. It's all energy, you know, so it doesn't matter whether you use crystals or whatever, you know. It's all the same stuff. I love it.
All righty. Well, once again, why don't we close it off?
Yeah.
Until next time.
That's all.
Night all.
Good night.
Good night.